Hey, it's Clay at claytrader.com. This will be my top 10 stocks as we head into Friday, May 2nd. This will be a technical analysis breakdown, so if you're someone that uses charts within your trading, or maybe you're just interested in learning more about charts and how they can be used as a tool to help make good decisions as a trader, this will be a video for you. First off, a couple clarifications. Number one, the candlestick that you see right there will be moving around and changing. That is because the market is still open for a small amount of time. But I like to do these videos when the market is still open because sometimes we can capture some really interesting late day price movement. Second, I'll be using the 30-minute time frame, meaning each one of these candlesticks here represents 30 minutes worth of time. So ticker symbol number one, KIDZ. Very nice mover today and worth keeping an eye on these trend lines here as of right now. These seem to be the areas where the sellers are hanging out and also the buyers right here. But at the end of the day, I'm going to go ahead and get rid of that because ideally, if you were to say, Clay, what would make this chart look the absolute strongest moving forward? That would be if the price can stay above that trend line. But let me be very clear. If the price does fall below that area, that doesn't mean the chart's epically destroyed or anything like that. But yeah, if the price can stay above there, that would be a very, very impressive sign of power. Taking a step back and looking at things from the bigger picture point of view, that is where the purple line there comes into play, the 50-period moving average. Keyword being moving, because I totally understand that the price is way up here and this level is way down here, but that is a moving average. So what that means is that as time goes by, that line is going to move itself higher and higher. So it's essentially going to be an overall trend line that draws itself for you. Again, it's not technically a trend line, it's a moving average, but I like to call moving averages trend lines for lazy people, because if you don't feel like drawing a trend line, then just let this, like I said, quote unquote trend line draw itself for you. So from the big picture standpoint, as long as the price is above that purple line, then the bulls 100% own the chart. Preferably speaking, stay above that trend line, but as long as the price is above that moving average, nothing to worry about at all. So keep an eye on this, but as long as this thing keeps on grinding with those higher highs and higher lows, that's the name of the game. But if you like this price range, you like stocks that move very well with great amounts of volume, certainly keep an eye on it. Next one, ticker symbol ZCAR. Absolutely monster mover today, and now setting up with a good solid pattern here headed into Friday. So as I draw this pattern, I'm not trying to impress you. I'm not trying to imply that this is some secret discovery or great talent. I assure you, a lot of people have drawn a pattern very similar to this, and I make all those comments. Let me change that to green real quick. But I make all those comments because when a lot of people are watching the same areas and wondering the same things, call it a self-fulfilling prophecy, call it whatever you want. It can produce some very dynamic movement. So let me get this pattern fully drawn into play. So hopefully you can see it better. So we have our area of resistance, we have our area of support, and then we have the big explosive move right there. And then for you golfers, let me make this a little bit more visual. Put the golf hole down here. This would be a bull pennant pattern. Again, just because something's bullish does not mean for sure, guaranteed, it's going to go up. But would it be shocking if this thing came up here, broke through there, and then got the break right through there? No. Valid question to suggest that could happen. Not guaranteed, but certainly a more than reasonable scenario that could play out. So if you like bull pennant patterns, certainly keep an eye on it. Next one here, LGMK. So if you are more of a penny stock trader and you like bull pennant patterns, well, we definitely have what I would consider a multi-day bull pennant pattern. So let's get this into play. I'm going to go through this a little quicker because you just heard me talk about it. And I'm not going to use a lower trend line. What we can do for that is just use that purple line, which I've already talked about before, as the bottom part of the pattern. So let's get this all mapped out real quick, same color to make it hopefully easier to see. So we have our area of support right there. We have our area of resistance right there. To think that at one point the price was down here and it went all the way up there. And then to draw our golf hole down here, this is what I mean by a multi-day bull pennant pattern. So I'm just going to quickly go through it. Guarantees? No. Rational to think that the price could come up here, break through it? Yes, that is totally a valid thought to have. So if you like the bull pennants, you like multi-day patterns in the world of penny stocks, here you go. Next one here, TSLL, and once more, we're talking about multi-day patterns, so I'm going to go through this very, very quickly. I want to respect your time, and you literally just heard me say all this stuff. So there is our overall arching area of resistance. Now, I am going to use a lower trend line for this, and we're not going to use a moving average. There is our overarching area of support, and then just so that I can't help myself, let's keep it all in color, make sure everybody sees it. So there is the resistance, there is the support, there is the big move up right here. There is the golf hole down there. And there we are now looking at a multi-day bull pennant. I'd say the biggest difference here is that this is not a penny stock. It's up, above the $10 mark, give or take a little bit. So if you prefer this price range and you like the multi-day bull pennants, here you go. Next one here, NVDA. Very, very impressive day. Things were looking pretty sketchy yesterday, especially at the open when there was the gap down, when the price was that low. But to give credit where it's due, had a nice bounce on Wednesday. And then today, things just kept on grinding higher and higher. So all things considered, very impressive. Basically past 2 days, again, when you factor in where Wednesday actually began. So first update that needs to happen is just based on a foundational rule in charting, which states when levels of resistance are broken and closed above, they tend to act as support. And I'm actually going to adjust this up here a little bit higher to what I would call that ideal level. When we say, Clay, what would make this chart look the absolute best moving forward? That would be if the price can stay up above $112. But as talked about previously, if the price doesn't hold above that area, well then let's keep our eye on the purple line there, which you now know is that 50 period moving average. So as that line moves itself higher and higher from the overarching standpoint, as long as the price is above that purple line, the bulls are doing just fine. In terms of areas of resistance, main battleground to watch if there is any sort of movement back upwards. Keep an eye on that trend line right there. And I suppose in all actuality, we do have ourselves another bull pennant pattern if you want to look at it that way. But yeah, as I speak, and that's why I like to use when the markets are open, pretty rough last 30 minutes. Like I said, I'm talking right now, and this candle is just getting bigger and bigger to the downside. So yeah, can the 112 mark hold? Seems like a more than valid question here headed into Friday. So we'll see what happens. Real quick, want to take a break and personally invite you to get signed up for this free live online webinar that I'm offering very soon. So if you've been enjoying what you've seen and you want to learn more about this tool, how it can and should be used to build consistency and manage risks, then definitely get signed up for the free class. If you're watching on YouTube, there's a link down in the description area you can use, or if you're watching right at my website, there's an area on the webpage that you can use to sign up. But like I said, if you want to learn more, certainly get signed up for it. One special note, it is a genuine live event. So a couple things, maybe you already have something on your schedule this evening, or maybe you're watching this Friday morning and you totally missed it. Go ahead, send me an email to clay@claytrader.com, and I'd be happy to send you a link to the replay. But if you can make it live, then definitely get signed up, and I'll see you here in just a few hours. Next one here, we are looking at HCTI, and we have ourselves, yeah, you guessed it, another one of these bull pennant patterns. So they're starting to show up. Now, this thing was crazy. Not a whole lot going on, and then this afternoon, the interest levels really came pouring in. So some sort of news, I would imagine, came out. But as a chart trader, don't really care about that stuff. I just care about the price action. So let's get this drawn in a play. There's our area of support, and just to make sure everybody can see it, let's map things out. There's our area of resistance. There's our area of support. Big move up right there. And this would be probably more so a bull flag compared to a bull pennant, but no need to get in a fist fight over whether it's a bull pennant or a bull flag, because the psychology is the same. That being, there has been a very, very impressive move up. Now there's a bit of a pullback, so it just becomes a question of can the pullback ultimately lead to another upside break. So if you like penny stocks and you like these where you get the big volume surges and then nice quality patterns, keep an eye on it. Next one, RNAZ, and overall, the chart's hanging in there, but I can see some disappointed people out there if you're a day trader, flipper, scalper, and you're someone that was buying right there or buying right there, and your plan was to buy and sell within, 20 minutes. Yeah, from that angle, there has been a pretty big pullback, but assuming you do care about things from the bigger picture point of view, then, like I said, the chart's hanging in there, and why I'm defining quote-unquote hanging in there, and maybe you're not surprised by this, but yeah, the 50-period moving average, as I've talked about in those past stocks, as long as the price does stay above it, then overarching wise, the price is still put in higher bases, because that's going to be a requirement. If this line by definition is moving higher and higher, well then the price is going to need to build higher bases in order to stay up above that. And again, that's what overall uptrends are all about. So again, I fully realize if you're a day trader that bought right there, you probably don't care about that 50-period moving average. But that's why I'm trying to create points of distinction between one category of people, those being more so day traders, and then the other category being more so those that care about the bigger picture point of view. So assuming you do care about the bigger picture point of view, even with the pullback today, the chart is hanging in there. If there is going to be any sort of recovery back in the upwards direction, key area of resistance to watch initially, I think right up there about the 65-cent mark. So overall, chart's hanging in, but we'll see if the price can try to curl back upwards and get more back up into the 70-cent range. Next one here, SOXL, and the first thing to comment on very quickly, this last 30 minutes here, very, very brutal. That doesn't necessarily ruin the chart, but it does add a little bit of new spice to things and brings about a valid question. Oh, is this the start of something even bigger to the downside? Now, to be fair, the price is still up above its 50-period moving average, so it's not like it's violated that or anything. But again, this last 30 minutes, especially when you factor in the volume bar down here, last 30 minutes had a lot of volume come in. And yeah, we'll see if that is indeed the start of a bigger move to the downside. But from a pattern standpoint, and we're just going to use this 50 period as the bottom part of the pattern, so the trend line there. So we have our area of support, we have our area of resistance, and maybe this is all looking familiar. Then we have the big move up, and we have the golf hole down here. So overarching-wise, there is a bull pennant. But yes, looking at things from a very intraday standpoint, as already pointed out, this, again, is not the end of the world, but I would say it's somewhat worrisome. And we'll just have to see if this does ultimately lead to a violation of the bull pennant pattern in the downwards direction. So, yeah, this last 30 minutes really kind of, again, the chart's still there, but it's not nearly as pretty as it could have been had the price just maintained up higher than where it was. But yeah, definitely some nice spice now headed into Friday. Next one, NVNI, and this is another one of these tricky ones to talk about because it's all about perspective. Day traders, flippers, scalpers. If you bought right there and you're looking to buy and sell within 20 minutes, well then yes, from that standpoint, the chart looks absolutely terrible with a bigger pullback. However, if you take a step back and care about more so the bigger picture point of view, there are several ways you can look at this. Of course, you can use that purple line and you'll see that the price is still nicely above it. So from that angle, the trend is still plenty fine. Or if you just want to look at kind of where the bases are, so there's essentially a set of lows here, a set of lows there, and then lows down there. And if you envision each one of those as stair steps, well, the stair steps are still progressing in the upward direction. Again, to reiterate, I understand I sound like a crazy person saying that the chart looks good if you're a day trader that bought right there. But I'm trying to talk about those two different categories that could exist. So overarching wise, things are perfectly fine. But, day traders, depending on where you bought, things could be looking very, very shaky. As far as areas of resistance are concerned, I think that's a key level and dynamic to keep an eye on right there. If the price can come up here and push through it, especially if it's a high volume break, I could see that being a very valid question to throw out there in terms of, could that break create more upside buying pressure? So keep an eye on that. But like I said, overarching, higher highs, higher lows, and that's the name of the game. Next one here, TSLA Tesla, and overall a disappointing day. Again, last 30 minutes looking pretty sketchy there, but the chart had already, it was hanging in. Well, let me take a step back. If you care about the big picture of things, then in all actuality, all we still have right now is basically this big old bull flag right here. Now, I realize not everybody cares about what's been happening. They don't care about necessarily a multi-week pattern, but that is the context, assuming you do care about things from a much more extended point of view. But today, not the greatest to see it up here and to have it pull back. But like I said, to be fair, in all actuality, it's just basically stuck in this sideways choppy range. So yes, I get it. And I think what I'm envisioning in my mind is, that there's traders out there that are buying and saying, just come on, give us that big old breakout in the upward direction. And it's just not doing it. So that's what I mean in the sense of just not looking so good. It's really struggling. But if you're not looking at things through that, lens, well then yes, everything is still perfectly fine. So a little tricky to talk about, as I'm kind of presuming that a lot of people just want to see this break and go, which I think a lot of people do. But just because it hasn't done that does not therefore imply that everything is totally ruined. But yeah, that last 30 minutes are not the greatest. But from a support standpoint, preferably speaking, you'd want to see the price hold up above this area, which would at least keep it inside of this sideways range right here. But if that level does not quite hold, then I'd look for the price to probably go down and test that 200 period moving average. Now, if the price comes down there and breaks through there, at that point, again, I'm not going to say the entire chart's destroyed, but I'd say that's a relatively big red flag. But right now, obviously, the price isn't anywhere close to that area, but nonetheless, still worth keeping an eye on. So yes, Tesla continues to tease, continues to act like it wants to make a break up through that area, but just quite won't do it. So yes, 288.50, definitely the thorn in the side of the bulls. So that wraps up the top 10 stocks. Again, if you like what you saw here, then definitely get signed up for the free class. It will be this evening, Thursday, May 1st at 8 p.m. Eastern time. So I hope to see you there. But like I mentioned earlier, if you cannot make it live for whatever reason, go ahead, send me an email to clay@claytrader.com, and I'd be happy to send you a link to the replay so that you can watch it at your earliest convenience. But again, if you can make it live, get signed up, and I'll see you here in just a few hours. As far as these top 10 videos are concerned, as always, if you appreciate these, hit that like button, and if you want to go the extra mile, hit that subscribe button. That really does help out. So thanks for watching. Hopefully, I'll be seeing you here in just a few hours.